Good morning, students. Welcome back to our English class. Today we are going to read Chapter 2, The Tsunami, in Honeydew book. So, as you all know, we are going to inculcate two Dalmia core values among the students with this lesson. So, the first is compassion and the other is risk taking. So, you can see the name of the chapter, The Tsunami, chapter number 2 of class 8. Okay. So, tsunami, students, as you all know, is a very large and powerful wave caused by earthquakes under the sea. You all will be thinking, ki earthquake under the sea? Yes, students, there is an earthquake under the sea also. On 26 December 2004, a tsunami in Thailand and parts of India, such as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Tamil Nadu coast. So, it was in the Thailand, and in India it was among the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and even in the coast of the Tamil Nadu. Here are some stories of courage and survival. So we can say that wild animals sensed that a tsunami was coming. So some stories suggest that they did. Because it is a common saying that whenever any disaster or any physical disaster comes, so the wild animals they forecast it before only because of their sixth sense. So students, this was something about the chapter. So let us start the chapter. These stories are from the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago. The archipelago means it is a group of islands, mini islands, and the surrounding sea. Ignatius, it is the name of a person who was the manager of a cooperative society in Kachal. Kachal is again Andaman Nicobar Islands. It is one name of the place. His wife woke him up at 6 a.m. early in the morning because she felt an earthquake. Ignatius' wife felt some earthquake, so she woke her husband at 6 o'clock in the morning. Ignatius carefully took his television set off its table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. Then the family rushed out of the house because of that earthquake. They thought that earthquake will be coming, so they just rushed out of the house. Students, you can see on the screen the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. You can see the maps, Kachal Island. All these are this one Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So when the tremors are the slight shakes of the earthquakes, stopped, they saw the sea rising. Now what happened? The level of the water in the sea was rising. In the chaos means complete disorder or confusion. Chaos means complete disorder and confusion. They don't understand what to do. And confusion, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's mother, brother, and rushed in the opposite direction. He never saw them again. Now Ignatius is telling, when I saw my children, they went with mother's father and mother's brother in the opposite direction. From that day, I have not seen my children again. He never saw them again. His wife was also swept away. Only the three other children who came with him were safe. The other children who came just to live there, just to live with them, they were escaped, they were saved. Sanjeev. Now they are telling one another story. You can see in the picture, see how the disaster has come and what a lot of destruction this tsunami has done. You can see in the pictures, the houses, the cars, the trees, all are sweeping away in the water. So Sanjeev was a policeman serving in the Kachal Island of the Nicobar group of islands. He somehow managed to save himself, his wife, and his baby daughter from the waves of tsunami. But then he heard cries for help from the wife of John, the guest house cook. So John was the guest house who used to make the food for the persons who were living in that guest house. So when Sanjeev heard the sound, the cries for help of John's wife, Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue her, but they were both swept away. So you can see students, other, all were busy in helping ourselves and in helping others also. So what comes in our mind that we should be helpful in the time of trouble. 13-year-old Meghna. Now this is some other story related to the tsunami only. So 13-year-old Meghna was swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. So you can see a lot of people died in this tsunami. She spent 2 days floating in the sea, holding on to a wooden door. One door was just, it was floating in the water, and she took hold of that wooden door, Meghna, and she saved her life. 11 times she saw relief helicopters overhead. Means 11 times the helicopters used to fly over her head, but they did not see her because it was sometimes it is not possible to see small things from the height. She was brought to the shore by a wave and was found walking on the seashore in a daze. Daze means she was totally shocked when she saw all this disaster from her own eyes. So children, you can again see how the houses are broken in. You can see the pieces of wooden doors and windows and houses. So this is the disaster. This is the destruction caused by the tsunami. Alma Zaved was 10 years old. Now this is, they are telling about one more girl. She was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair, where her father had a petrol pump. So Port Blair is the capital of Andaman. So her father used to work in the petrol pump. Her mother Rahila's home was in Non-Kavri Island. She was living there. The family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. They had went there. They had gone there to celebrate Christmas. When the tremors, I told you, these were the shaking of the earthquakes. Came early in the morning. The family was sleeping. Alma's father saw the sea water recede. Means what when the tsunami comes, at first the water just decreases, and afterwards it comes with a full force. So Alma's father saw the water recede. He understood that the water would come rushing back with great force. This is the tsunami, the water which comes with a great force. He woke everyone up and tried to rush them to a safer place. So he wanted to help all his family members and he tried. But let us see what happened. As they ran, her grandfather was hit on the head by something, as grandfather was old man, and due to this danger, he was confused, and in that hurry and this one, he hit upon his head and he fell down. Her father rushed to help him. Then came the first giant wave. You can see this giant wave in the picture on the screen that swept both of them away. And so the father and the son both were swept in the tsunami. Alma's mother and aunt stood clinging. Clinging means to hold something tightly to the leaves of a coconut tree. They were holding a coconut tree, calling out to her. A wave uprooted the tree because the force of that wave is so much that it uprooted the tree, and they too were washed away in the tsunami. Alma saw a log of wood floating. She climbed on it. Then she fainted because she was too small. She was only 10 years old, and how she had seen all this disaster. So she fainted. So students uprooted means pulled it out along with its roots. So when she woke up, she was in a hospital in Camorta. From there, she was brought to Port Blair. The little girl does not want to talk about the incident with anyone. She was so shocked that she don't want to share all these things with anyone. She is still traumatized. Traumatized means greatly shocked and distressed. Students, you can see in the picture, see how the tsunami is, the car has gone in the water. You can see the disaster over here. So now, here is a story from Thailand. The Smith family from Southeast England were celebrating Christmas at a beach because it is the incident in December, 26th December, and so that time is of Christmas. So they were all celebrating Christmas at a beach resort. Resort is a place where people go mostly on holidays. So in southern Thailand, Tilly Smith was a 10-year-old schoolgirl. You can see the age. All this child mentioned in this chapter were mostly 10 years, 11 years, with a small kids, child. And they have seen such a disastrous thing. Her sister was 7 years old. Whose sister? Tilly Smith's sister. Their parents were Penny and Colin Smith. It was 26 December 2004. Deadly tsunami. Deadly? Of course it is deadly because it takes away so many people's lives. So it is a deadly. Deadly tsunami waves were already on their way. They had been triggered. Triggered means caused, activated, being activated by a massive, massive means huge, very big earthquake of northern Sumatra earlier that morning. So they have to face because that deadly tsunami was on their way. The water was swelling. Swelling means it was rising and rising and kept coming in. Fanny Smith remembered the beach was getting smaller and smaller. I didn't know what was happening, but Tilly Smith sensed something was wrong. Her mind kept going back to a geography lesson. How intelligent that girl was. She remembered her geography lesson, which her social studies teacher used to taught. She had taken in England just 2 weeks before she flew out to Thailand with her family. She remembered that geography lesson, that geography class. Tilly saw the sea slowly rise and start to foam, forming and bubbling and forming whirlpools. You can see the whirlpools, means the bubbles and the speed of the waves high in the sky. See how disaster you can see in the picture. So she remembered that she had seen this in class in a video of a tsunami that had hit the Hawaiian Islands in 1946. Her teacher, her geography teacher, was teaching her about tsunami, and she showed her a video which was showing the disaster of the tsunami. That girl remembered her class. Her geography teacher had shown her the class video and told them that tsunamis can be caused by earthquakes, by volcanoes, and landslides. Volcanoes, when the mountains break up and there is a heavy force in them, and the landslides when the land it just broke in between. So tsunami can come because of three reasons: earthquake, volcanoes, and landslides. Now Tilly started to scream at her family to get off from the beach because she remembered that the tsunami has come. She talked about an earthquake under the sea. She got more and more hysterical. Hysterical means getting more and more upset, either laughing or either crying. They don't know what position they are in. Said her mother Penny, I didn't know what a tsunami was because she had never heard, never seen about tsunami. But seeing my daughter so frightened, I thought something serious must be going on. So you can see in the picture, 10-year-old girl, Tilly Smith, the picture of her, saved her family and 100 other tourists from the Indian Ocean earthquake tsunami by recognizing signs of tsunami, which she had learned in a geography lesson 2 weeks before. So students, you can see that a girl of only 10 years, she saved many lives. Tilly's parents took her and her sister away from the beach to the swimming pool at the hotel. So with her wisdom, many people were escaped from the tsunami. Then it was as if the entire sea had come out after them. I was screaming, run! The family took refuge, means to take shelter, in the third floor of the hotel. The building withstood the surge of three tsunami waves. Means the force of the waves were so much that it was of three tsunami waves. If they had stayed on the beach, they would not have been alive. So they all were alive due to the girl Tilly Smith. The Smiths later met other tourists who had lost entire families. Thanks to Tilly and her geography lesson, they had been forewarned. So, because of her geography lesson, they were forewarned of the tsunami. Tilly went back to her school in England and told her classmates her terrifying tale. She told her classmates that this happened with me and I have done this because of my geography lesson. Before the giant waves slammed into the coast in India and Sri Lanka, wild and domestic animals seemed to know what was about to happen because this is a common saying that animals know better than us because they can foresee the disaster coming over. So, according to eyewitness accounts, elephants screamed and ran for higher ground. Why? Because they could see the disaster. So they ran. They ran to escape. Dogs refused to go outdoors. Dogs didn't go out of their houses. Flamingos, it is a kind of bird, abandoned their low-lying breeding areas. They stopped flying. And fourth, zoo animals rushed into their shelters and could not be enticed to come back out. They also, the zoo animals, they went into their cages and they were not coming out, whether you are giving them anything. So many people believe that animals possess a sixth sense and know when the earth is going to shake. They can sense it, they can smell it. Some experts believe that animals more acute hearing helps them to hear or feel the earth's vibration. So whatever is going on inside the earth, they can sense it very nicely. They can sense an approaching disaster long before humans realize what's going on. So they can forecast it. So, students, we cannot be sure whether animals have a sixth sense or not, but the fact is that the giant waves that rolled through the Indian Ocean killed more than 150 lakh people in a dozen countries. But not many animals have been reported dead. Along India's Kadlor coast, where thousands of people perished, buffaloes, goats, and dogs were found unharmed. Why? Because these animals could sense the bad thing, so they were unharmed. The Yala National Park in Sri Lanka is home to a variety of animals, including elephants, leopards, and 130 species of birds. 60 visitors were washed away from the Patnangla beach inside the park, but no animal carcasses, means dead bodies, were found. So the animals could save themselves because they can sense what the bad is going to happen. Except for two water buffaloes. Only two water buffaloes were killed, and you can see 60 visitors were killed in this. They died. About an hour before the tsunami hit, people at Yala National Park had observed three elephants running away from the Patnangala beach. A Sri Lankan gentleman who lives on the coast near Gale said his two dogs would not go for their daily run on the beach. Why? Because the dogs knew that something is going to happen bad, something wrong. So they didn't go out of the house. They are usually excited to go on this outing because dogs are mostly, they want to go out, they want to roam here and there, but that day they sensed something bad and they didn't move out of their house. So, but on that day they refused to go and most probably saved his life also, because if the dogs had not gone, so that man also didn't go out of the house. So, students, you can see lots of disasters. So, compassion and risk taking. Yes, why? Because if you want to help each other, if you want to save, if you want to take pity on them, that will be only then when you are having a risk taking. Because you have to take a risk, you have to help others, you have to either lose your life to save others. So students, this was the story about tsunami which came in 26 December 2004. So we shall be back again in our next class. Till then, stay fit, stay healthy. Thank you, students.